Hey everyone, welcome back to Ideas Times 2. This is Cindy, and I'm so excited to share today's junk journal project with you. Well, technically not just for junk journals, which makes it even more exciting. Whether you're here to learn a new technique or soak up some inspiration, I hope you'll grab a cup of tea and craft along with me today as I try something new. This is not just for junk journals, like I said, but it is something that I want to use in a journal that I specifically got all the stuff together for to do a blue and white journal. And sorry, my cat is trying to make her normal appearance, but I have stuff in her pathway, so trying to give her a little bit more space. So what we're going to do today, or what I'm going to do today, is make a cyanotype. And what you're going to need for this project is the chemistry, the chemicals for making cyanotype. This is Jacquard, so you can buy it pretty much anywhere online or at major craft stores. And this is the packaging. And there are different brands, but they all come with 2 bottles of a powder and a type A, or part A and part B. And the first thing you have to do is have some patience because you have to add water to the bottles, shake it really well, and then let it sit, preferably according to the directions, at least 24 hours. And once the water is mixed in with the powder, it has a very long shelf life, and you're going to find you don't need as much for this project as you might think you do. So you do want to store them in a cool, dark, dry place. I'm sure you've got a cupboard in your craft room. And so that's what you need, part A and part B, and they are sold together in powder form. So remember, you just have to have a little patience. And then you need your paper. I'm using a pretty heavy watercolor paper, and the paper has a rough side, as most watercolor paper does. It has a rough side and a smooth side. I'm going to be using the smooth side for this project. And I've cut my paper down to some different sizes. I want to do a large one that actually I want to use as a gift, and then 2 smaller ones that I want to use in for cover of a journal, maybe a cover for 2 journals, and then one that I'll have some flexibility with that I can cut down into smaller pieces. So this is what I'm using today. Also, you'll need some kind of a container to do some to mix your chemicals in, and it should be something that you're not going to use for food. So technically, of course, this is a food container, but I'm not using it for that anymore. And I'm using a sponge brush. Of course, it's the cheapest brushes out there. It is one of the cheapest brushes out there. Let me be grammatically correct. And it works really well on the paper. Also, you're going to mix your chemicals together in equal parts, so you want something to be able to measure. And because you don't need a lot of the chemical, I'm just using, I literally have no idea where I got this or what I don't even know if I bought it. But it's a measuring cup, teaspoons, tablespoons, milliliters, and ounces. So I'm guessing this is for mixing drinks, but I'm not a drinker, so I don't know. But you'll need something to measure as well. I grabbed my heat gun to make the process go a little faster. So if you have a heat gun or a blow dryer, or if you have the time to let your paper air dry, that's all fine too. I would also suggest being in a room without a lot of natural sunlight, or if you have a lot of light, close your blinds or your curtains. You don't want a lot of light to get in the room. And the last thing you need is a resist. So if you paint or do fabric dyeing, you know that a resist is just something that covers the paper and allows it to resist paint or dye, and that's what you're going to need. Most cyanotypes are natural elements like flowers and leaves and feathers and things like that. That's what I'm using today. It was my birthday last week, and I got some flowers, and they're now almost 2 weeks old, so they're on their last legs, and so rather than just throwing them out, I'm going to use them for this project. So I know that was 5 minutes of chatter. Let's get to work. So just a quick reminder, you need part A and part B of the chemistry for the cyanotype, something to mix in, something to mix with. You'll need some paper and a brush, and then a resist. So, and I think that's everything. So you're going to mix part A and part B together in equal parts, and you don't want to mix too much because once you mix the chemicals, they have a short shelf life of only 2 to 3 hours. So I'm going to, I'm a tablespoon person, so I think I'll just do a couple of tablespoons. Of A and B. And I can always add more, but I don't want to be wasteful. Whoops. Now it's going to be wasteful. It's so dark I can't see the lines. So leave just a little bit left in there. And I'll use my foam brush to mix that up. And so you can see that's about 4 tablespoons, and I don't think I'm going to need more than that today. So since this is for journals, I'm going to start with the 2 small pieces, the ones I have for journal covers. And I'm just going to use parchment to keep my table from getting too grungy. And I am painting the whole paper. If you don't want to, if you want to paint just, you know, a shape in the middle, put tape on the outside so you have a white edge, whatever. You can do all of that. I'm going to move this to the side, grab my second piece. And you'll want to make sure that you are doing this on a sunny day because you will need the sun. I maybe should have started with that. I had started working on this last Sunday, and then it got too late in the day, and then it was rainy all week, and I worked late every day, and it just became kind of a disaster. So I'm starting over, and so make sure the day is sunny. You need the sun. And today is beautiful. It's about 75 degrees. The sun is shining. And I think we'll have good luck today and get good prints. And the last one, I'm probably not going to go all the way up to the edge. I'm going to, I have a really pretty oval frame that I think this is going to be a Christmas gift, and the person who it will be for, I think, will like the blue frame that I have. And this will be blue. Looks green, right? At least hopefully it does on my camera. But when we're done, as the name implies, it will be a cyan blue. So now the next thing you need to do is let this dry and move all of my chemically stuff out of the way. And once they're dry, then we can move on to the next step. So I'll be back as soon as everything is dry. All right, I am back, and you can see my paper is dry, and now it's time for the fun part. Let me actually move these out of the way. And grab a piece of cardboard, because I'm going to be moving these outside, so I want to put it on something that I can pick up after I put down my resist. And so you can see I've got some fern, and as you can tell, I think they're beautiful this way, but they are on their last legs. They're turning brown, which in some ways I think is prettier than, well, I like fall, so anything suggesting fall colors is good in my book. And like I said, you can use any kind of natural material. Well, I suppose you can use any kind of materials on anything you want, but I'm using natural because that's what's traditional. But the center of the daisy is pretty pretty hefty, and we want them to be fairly flat. So it doesn't, well, I didn't mean it to completely fall apart. Let's start that over. Get rid of that one. But I think it's going to be, kind of needs to be squished in the middle without destroying the complete flower. We want things to lay pretty flat, because what we're looking for is definition, right? So, and it will not matter if it falls apart. I'm trying not to rush, but I'm kind of rushing. And let's see what else I've got left in this bouquet. I'm going to take off the ones that are on the back side. So hopefully it'll lay flatter. I guess a downside from using the old flowers is that they're falling apart, but they were way too pretty. And you want to make sure you don't have anything on here that might resist the sunlight. So I've got some dead roses, and definitely don't need all of those petals. And that center is going to be way too thick, I think. The flatter they are, the better they are going to resist the sun. And let's see, since I have daisies out, I'll use another daisy. And I'm going to have to dig out the feathers, I think, too. I think adding some feathers would be really pretty. So I don't want to get my fingerprints all over it, but I want it to be pretty squished down. And I can still move things around a little bit. And I have some clamps that I picked up at a hardware store that I'm going to put around the edge. But I don't want, that is really, those are good clamps. But I don't want the clamps to go over the edge onto the paper, because they will act as a resist, and the paper then will, like right here, I'm going to wind up with a little white spot right there. And you do have to move fairly quickly. So everywhere, right here, I'm going to have white spots. I should have gotten a little bit bigger piece of plexiglass. This is plexiglass, not glass. Although if you are using glass, that's awesome too. And how many more clamps do I have? These little tiny ones are a little, I don't want to say they're worthless, they're useless, but they're not as good as the bigger ones. You can buy them online or virtually any hardware store, and they're cheap. They come in big bags with a whole bunch of clamps in different sizes and the different things. So now fingers are crossed, right? Because once the process starts, it's kind of out of our hands. I'm going to take this outside into the sun and put them outside for 11 minutes. And this I put on top of the leaf. I'm hoping that it will, yeah, right here I don't have very good definition. I'm not real happy about that. Nothing I can do about it though. Maybe if I had a harder board than cardboard, I don't know. It's kind of up to you and to experiment what's right for you. And I probably would do things maybe a little differently if I had a different product, but we'll see. And it'll be fun to find out if this works. So I will be back in 11 minutes. Okay, it is now 11 minutes later. Let's see how we did. Take the clamps off. That sun was warm. I can feel the heat coming off of the board. There's a little bit of moisture in there too from some condensation from the heat. Air conditioned in my house. Take off the plexi and see what we've got. So get rid of all of these, and the next thing we need to do is rinse. I would suggest rinsing outside on your driveway with your garden hose or at your kitchen sink, but you want to make sure you get all of that chemical off. So that's the next step, and I will be right back after I do that. We'll see. These don't look too bad. A little smushy right here, but we'll see. So here they are after a quick rinse. You can see how beautiful the color is. And one last step can be done of two ways. What needs to happen now is it needs to oxidize, and it will do that over time. As you know, anything that oxidizes or rusts, it just takes time. But if you want to speed up the process, here's what we can do. Normally I would do this in my kitchen, but today I will do it here. I've got my big half sheet cake pan, some tap water, just regular old tap water, and I'm going to give it a shot of hydrogen peroxide, and that will allow it to oxidize fully. So you can see that beautiful color, and you can see right here where the clamps were. I don't love that, not happy about that, but that's not a big deal. And the fern, I think, turned out really nice. Let me put it the right direction. I was worried about those daisies. I should have just taken the petals off and formed them into the right shape. But it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'll do the second one, the rose. And it does look like a rose, even with as kind of lumpy it was there in the center. I think it still looks really good. And the last one. Yeah, I don't hate these. The reason that they are light blue is because they weren't clamped down hard enough, and it allowed sunlight to get underneath the leaves. So let that be a lesson to both of us. The places where the clamps were the tightest have the best definition, and but I think these are beautiful, and I think they're going to be really nice in my junk journals. And now I'm going to just put them aside to dry. I'm going to let these dry naturally, and there we we go. There's our 3 projects for today. I think there's potential. I'm gonna keep working at this and get better. And I think they're going to be really nice accents in my blue and white junk journal. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that if this is a new technique for you, that you learned something. If you've tried it before and you got results like this and you're like, yeah, that's not for me, I hope you give it another try, because just looking at this, I can see where my mistakes were and I know how to fix them. So I'm going to keep working, get a couple more done today, and we'll see. If I get really good results on the next batch, you'll definitely see them showing up in a journal. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more crafty goodness. Keep creating, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.